All right, we actually got all four of... All right, we got our prepped wheel on my, what you call makeshift turntable. And what that consists of is literally a block of wood screwed to an old water pump. So that is my turntable for painting wheels and everything. And it honestly works absolutely fantastic. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, we've got our wheel up here on the stand. We've blown it off. Again, we've already etched it with the sandblaster. We're not trying to get this thing down to bare metal. We're not trying to get it perfect because it's going to be a weathered look. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to hit it with like a red oxide primer. I think I have brick red paint, close enough. So first layer, we're going to hit it with that. Then we're going to hit it, let that dry. Then we're going to hit it with some gray primer. Then I'm going to top coat it with white. And what you've created is you've got some bare metal, you've got some black, you've got some red, you've got some gray, and then your top coat of white, and then you're gonna kind of sand through some of those spots, some of those layers, to get the look that you want. So, I'm kind of gonna see how this is gonna go. So, let's start with some red. All right, this is the red that we're using, and only using it because we have it, and I actually had real good luck with the Krylon stuff. Right, you can grab it right at Lowe's, it's cheap, it's got good adhesion to it, it's pretty good paint. So this is the satin brick. It is a fast drying paint as well. I had a tiny bit left in the can, so I kind of already hit it on there a little bit with that one. But this is a fresh can, so I'll shake it up, and I'm gonna go ahead and paint a layer on this one and see how it goes. All right, I'm gonna give my turntable a little spin, and then it doesn't have to be perfect, but I wish I had another person here. I could have them keep spinning it, and I can't go too hard because I should have screwed this down to a board, and I didn't. But anyway, you get the idea. I'm gonna go ahead and put a layer on this without it being too thick, because again, this is just gonna be a weathered look, something we're gonna sand down through. So the red is almost done. I'll throw a little bit more on it. We're gonna give it an hour to dry before we hit it with the next color. All right. I know it looks high gloss. It's not gonna be. That is actually a satin, but it's just it's wet paint. So I think to speed up the drying process, because it is cold up here. We're actually up to the house garage. And that's a lot warmer than down at the big shop, but I still have my small powder coat oven up here, so I think I'm gonna put it in here at like 100 for like 10-15 minutes and help things along. All right, let's get it in. All right, next up is our Krylon Rust Tough Primer. This is ultra flat gray primer, and again, trying to stick with the same brand so the paints work well together, because I don't know, with spray painting, you guys ever run into that with switching brands and types of paint? Sometimes you end up with wrinkling. So that's been in the oven for about 10-15 minutes now at 110 degrees. So we sped up the drying process. So I'm gonna take that out now and we're gonna hit it with this. All right, you can kind of see it flattened out a little bit and went to more of a satin. I would prefer to flat, but I had this paint already and it was the color we wanted, so it just kind of works as far as that goes. And it's not perfect, but that's okay, because we're just layering the paint to wear through. And that's the key to this. Oh, and disclaimer, I am no professional at this. So I'm kind of learning too. And no, I'm not spinning the rim right now because, well, you know, I'm holding a camera. So that's the reason why. But again, right now we are hitting it with our ultra flat gray primer. And again, nothing super heavy. We're gonna put a thin layer on here, but I want good coverage. If you're only gonna like sand through a couple spots on it, that might be different. However, we're gonna go ahead. I'm not sure what the sanding plan is gonna be, so I'm gonna put a layer, and honestly, it's just protecting it more anyway. So we're gonna finish up with this gray. I'm gonna throw it back in the oven. Then we're gonna top coat it with our matte white. And that's right, I got a matte white for the very top layer. And at the very end of things, we're gonna be clear coating it. All right, up next is the matte white. Now this is gonna be our top coat, essentially the color of the wheel that we are then gonna be sanding through the different layers with some like 150, 220 grit in some different areas. Here's the gray all on here and dry now. As you can see, it actually started crackling and wrinkling. It's still smooth to the touch, but I think it's because I was rushing it and I was putting it on a little too soon. It's kind of what I was talking about different paints not playing well together. And it could have been because it was a satin paint with a flat, I don't know. But anyway, it's not bad and it'll work because we're covering it all up as long as the white doesn't do that. But we're gonna hit it with the white now. Away we go. And that white actually has some good coverage. Again, I'm not using my turntable like I should be because I'm trying to hold the camera, which I'm going to now either set aside or put it down because I can't do it the way I want to do it. All right, it's a little better. So I'm thinking 2 light coats on this. That's kind of my thought, because you want the white to be your finish coat that you're gonna sand through. So I'm just gonna kind of lightly coat it for now, throw it in the oven for 10 minutes, take it out, lightly coat it again, and then we'll call it good. How's that? All right, there it is. After the second coat is applied, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this back in the oven for a good hour or so at 110 degrees, just to really cure up that paint before we start any sanding with this thing. But I'm actually kind of digging just a plain white wheel, but no, we're gonna do our look. We're gonna do the weather look, so that's what it's gonna be. Yeah, well, here's kind of a bonus. We got this beat up old like bed rail mounted toolbox from a friend of mine that was actually really dirty and nasty. We cleaned it up, degreased it, and then we hit it with aluminum bright to really raw and make that aluminum, I guess, clean, so we had a good surface. Well, this fits nicely in the bed of the S10 up against the cab below the bed rail so you don't see it. As you know, the regular cab is just like really, really, really small. So again, we can't have this thing bright like this. So flat black paint is gonna do the trick. So I'm gonna hit this thing with some flat black. We're gonna let it dry, and then we're gonna scuff this up to also give it that weathered look. And it just continues the theme with the S10. So again, it's just the paint and primer 1 flat black, which is very, very forgiving. We're gonna quickly give this thing some paint and then let it dry. And then tomorrow I'll come back and scuff it up. It's a little glossy right now. We just threw the paint at it. Again, not too pretty, not a beautiful paint job, but that's gonna flatten out, give it like 5 or 10 minutes. And then once that cures overnight, we're gonna hit this with probably like a red Scotch-Brite and just wear through some spots and stuff on it to kind of give it that cool factor and go with the theme of the truck as well. All right guys, now we're on the toolbox. We got our red scuff pad, and again, same thing. We just painted this with the satin, it was the flat black paint and primer in 1. So it's fairly rugged, but all I'm doing is, I'm just trying to beat this up, right? So I wanna wear in the corners, anywheres where this thing might have seen some abuse. And as you can see, it comes off fairly easily. I mean, I say that, but again, corners, everywhere that it might have taken some abuse. You could use some sandpaper, honestly. Maybe I will. And blend it a little more, but it's like, okay, it got hit here, maybe here, and then a little bit on the top. You know, you kind of gotta get a feel for it and go for it. And you get that beat up look, corners, right? All right, I actually switched back to the 5-inch orbital 220 grit because honestly, it just freaking works great. And I'm gonna smooth it with the 3M Scotch-Brite Scotch pad afterward. But as you can see, we're getting the look we want. That kind of weathered look. This is gonna sit below the bed rails in the truck, even down to the latch there. Again, we just use the flat black. Now we're hitting it with the 220 and the scuff pad in different areas. So it depends on the look you want, how weathered you want it. But we pretty much have this where I want it right now. It's close. All right, here we go. We got the wheel, and honestly, it came out pretty good. I hate to hit this thing with sandpaper, but it is what it is. We're going with that weathered, worn look. So I've got some 150 grit and some 220 grit hand sandpaper, as well as on my little 5-inch DA sander. And honestly, there's no right or wrong way to do this, okay? You're going for the weathered look. You're gonna go with the look and just kind of go with what you want. So I'm just gonna kind of go with, start maybe some of the high spots around some of this area here, and then maybe around the holes and around the flange. I'm not 100% certain. And I don't know if I'm gonna do this just by hand or with the orbital DA. but I'm gonna grab some by hand to start with and just probably the 150, so it's a little more aggressive when you start cutting through the layers, and then go from there. Kind of just, alright, I'm already digging that. And it's like, it does clog up pretty easily. Because the paint's not old. It's only essentially a day old. You know, so right there, I just went through some grays and some black. Kind of has that like weathered look already. I'm kind of digging that. I think I might continue that around there. And honestly, I think I might, I don't want to get too aggressive with it, but I might take the orbital out and try that. Because this is working, and probably shouldn't get too cocky with it, but I don't know. I kind of feel like I want to use the orbital, but that's nice. I'm digging that so far. So I got my orbital here. I'm a little nervous to hit it with this because I don't want to just burnish right through everything. Although you can get down to the bare metal as well, because we are clear coating this. And I don't know if I want to take that bare metal and actually have it rust and then clear coat it. Undecided right now, but I switched to the 220 grit on here because I think it's going to take a lot of material off fast. So I'm just going to kind of lightly, yep, that's pretty cool. Lightly get into this in different areas. I'm going to watch the whole thing, and then I'll give you a little close-up, a little better than this as we go. But as you can see, I'm achieving that weathered look that I wanted. I'm going to kind of work around the holes too, and a little on the flange, and then we'll go from there. All right, this is almost to where I want it for the look, and you can see the different layers of paint. We got the black, the gray, the red, depending on where you're at. Again, the weathered look for this truck, and again, this is going on that S10. They're essentially kind of do the same thing on the body of the truck, just actually that's going to have a little more rust to it. So I'm going to hit down in here a little bit more with the sander. I just own my third sanding pad for the 220 grit, and you can tell when it starts to clog up the paper there, so you need to change it out. So this one's almost to where we want it, and then essentially I'm going to hit this with likely a Poppy's Patina clear over all this when it's said and done before I put the tire on. But the look of it will be very much like this. Probably not a high gloss, but not a matte finish. I'm thinking like maybe mix the two together and get a satin finish. All right, there we have it. I think that is the final look that I want. Let me lift it up a little bit. And actually did the whole thing with 220 grit on the DA. Just enough of a weathered look for that truck that it's not overboard. But definitely not shiny and new like nothing is on that truck. So honestly, I like it. We got the like 3 or 4 colors coming through on this with some clear coat over this. This is going to be an absolutely beautiful looking wheel. Now we're going to take some, so this is done aside from the clear coat. I'm happy with it. I hope it helped as far as the tip goes here and there. Kind of learned as well. I talked to a few buddies of mine that do body work and got some pointers from them as well. All right, the next episode, we're going to be using some Poppy's Patina Satin Clear. And we're going to take you through the clear coat process on these wheels that you can actually wipe their clear coat on. This time, we're going to try spraying it. So that's going to be the next episode. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching this one. Hopefully, you got a few tips and tricks. I know we did. So we're always learning as well. There's nothing wrong with that. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for following the channel. Give us a like and a subscribe. Thanks. Scott from Customized.